This is the Milo Beasley Show. This is the Milo Beasley Show. There's only one thing you need to know. This is the Milo Beasley Show. And now, here's your host, Milo Beasley.
And welcome to the Milo Beasley Show. Episode number 320. It feels like just yesterday we were filming episode 319, but here we are, 320, and I'm super thrilled for our guest this week. So with no further ado, please help me welcome at this time, Kelly Conway. How are you this evening?
I'm good, thanks. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. I'm super excited to chat with you about your life, your career, and your new book that's coming out. So when is the actual, is it already out, or what is the shelf date?
The book is being released on December 15th.
Okay.
Which they just announced, but it happens to be my dad's birthday. So, and they don't know that. So it was a really cool thing, I thought.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a cool little coincidence there. Yeah. So,
I think so.
New book coming out, My Dad's Funnier Than Your Dad by Kelly Conway, about your dad, who is Tim Conway. McHale's Navy, Carol Burnett Show, Apple Dumpling Gang, Dorf, Barnacle Boy on SpongeBob. The list goes on. It's he had a great career. You must be really proud.
I am. I miss him every day, but I have to think about all the great years I had with him, and that everybody had with him, really. I meet so many people that tell me stories about how maybe it wasn't going so well, or it was going great, and they watch the Carol Burnett Show on Saturday nights, and that was sometimes the only peaceful time in their lives. But I'm lucky that I have. Like I said, so many people tell me stories about him and thank me for sharing him with them.
Right.
Yeah, I'm grateful.
So when you're the oldest of your siblings, correct?
I am.
So when you were born, was he was already in the entertainment business, right?
He kind of. He was in Cleveland. I'm born in 62, about 1960. He was doing radio in Cleveland with Ernie Anderson. Oh. And they both came out to LA and did a couple guest appearances on the Steve Allen Show. Oh. But his first real job was McHale's Navy. Right. And that started in July 62. And I was born that week he started.
Oh.
On his first job.
That's great. So you were literally brought up in that world.
Literally. I have pictures. There's so many pictures in the book. I'm so lucky to have them all. I went through thousands to get the best 100.
Right.
There are a couple pictures on me as about this big on the McHale's Navy set.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
Yeah.
So because you were that, do you actually remember being there at all, or is it just through pictures and you kind of have a little?
McHale's Navy, I don't, because I was literally a week or two old,
right.
Maybe a month by the time they brought me there.
Right.
But I probably the earliest was, gosh, I don't know, 5 or 6. That he just some television stuff, but really started to kick in when I was about 10, 12, that I realized that he's actually on TV and people watch him.
Do you remember seeing him on TV for the first time going, oh, hey, that's
kind of, yeah, like trying to figure it out. My mom, I don't know if I remembered, if I've just been told the story so many times from my mom, sitting at the TV one night and trying to figure out why he's in, like going back, looking around at the TV and how did he get in there?
So, so how old were you when you realized that this was like his career, like that's where he was, when he wasn't at home?
I would say probably 10, 8 or
Okay.
10. I I do remember one time we were driving, we had a big station wagon because there's 6 of us and usually a friend or a cousin. So there's usually about 8 kids in the back, my mom and dad in the front. And we were driving to Big Bear Lake, which is a couple hours outside of LA. All of us were packed in the car and I was in the back, and I put a sign on the window, but my dad's in the front seat and people are honking at him going, "Hey, love Joe McHale's Navy. You're great on the Carol Burnett Show." And I'm in the back laughing and watching. He got out to put gas in the car and he saw the sign I put up was Tim Conway's in this car, this big poster. And I got in a lot of trouble because he couldn't figure out why everybody's honking at him and kind of like swerving and honking and waving. He's going, "What is going on?" So I got in trouble because he always said, never draw excess attention to yourself, ever. I mean, it's hard to understand because he does what he does, but he really did it and then came home to be normal,
Right.
He didn't cause attention to himself in public.
Right. So did you ever have, television or movie stars that just happen to pop over for like Sunday supper?
Yeah, we usually had because we live in Southern California, so it's usually warm,
Right.
especially spring and summer. We had pool parties pretty much every weekend. Carol Burnett's kid, 3 girls, would come over. Ernie Anderson's kids, Harvey Korman and his kids. McLean Stevenson was a really good friend of my dad's. He was a close friend. And then just, my uncles who weren't famous, my mom's brothers, would come over, and it was always at least 25 or 30 people plus kids.
Oh, wow.
For pool parties and volleyball and shuffleboard. And my dad never did anything, we're going to go swimming. It was never just as easy as that. He would have a swim meet with a trophy of a vase that he found in the kitchen and cover it in foil and nail it onto or glue it onto a piece of wood, and that would be the trophy. And
Right.
T-shirts and ribbons and medals. And so it was never just let's go swimming. It was always an event that he sold tickets to, to the neighborhood kids, or I don't know. It was a fun life. It still is, but it was a really fun childhood.
It seems like it would be. Did you feel like he always had to be on, though? Like that he always felt like he needed to be entertaining?
I don't think he felt like he needed to, but he just was. Like we would go to the grocery store and, instead of just, trying to tame 6 kids around him, he would give us all a cart, and I think just to shut us up and keep us busy. He would give us all a cart and put us in one aisle of the grocery store, and he would go to the next aisle and throw things over the top, and whoever caught the most things, they were toilet paper, paper towels,
Right.
Kleenex, things like that. And we're trying not to kill anyone with jars of sauce or anything, but he would give, you get whoever catches the most gets $20. So he would,
Right.
And they're not going to come all the time, so you got to wait there. And they're like, okay. So he would go shop a little bit, throw something over, I think just to keep us we were 6 kids only in only 8 years. So we were all pretty little at once. All little jerks at once, so he had to keep us under control.
All little jerks at once.
But yeah, I don't think he felt like he had to. That was just in his nature, he was just
right.
That's why it was never a big deal. Like you asked about when did I realize he was in show business. It was just his job, and
right.
I'm not trying to be like flippant about it, but it was his job, and we had a really fun life at home. And he would work not so much the beginning of the week, but Wednesday, Thursday, and Fridays were usually late on the show, and Saturdays and Sundays were all for us. Either the racetrack or parties at home, or paint the guest house, or go-kart races or something.
That's great. Yeah, tell me about these go-kart races that in your backyard.
He built. We had a kind of a winding driveway down around our house
Uh-huh.
to the back, and he would just build obstacle courses. Really, like I mean, the first X Games, I guess, jumps and dirt and pine cones and obstacles and trees and fences and stuff to jump over and go around. And he would time it, of course, because everything was a competition. And trophies again, like, best trophy or $10 or whatever. So we'd go for blood. Like, it wasn't just a fun little, let's go around the track. It was like, it was serious.
I mean, I would think with 5 other siblings, I think everything would be a competition. So
yeah, and boys too. So I had to keep up.
Oh, right. Yeah, you had that added pressure of being the only girl. Oh, girls can't do this. You had to keep up with the boys.
Exactly. I probably didn't even realize I was a girl until around age 10 too. 10, 12. I just want to play football and baseball.
Now, whenever you guys had these pool parties or, just everyone coming over and there, Carol Burnett was there, or, other people were there. Did you even see them as being celebrities, or was it just, oh, that's Carol, that she's just bringing her kids over and, just going to hang out?
Yeah, I think it was just our friends, honestly. And it wasn't always celebrities. It was, Harvey was there a lot, like McLean, but it was like a family, 3 or 4 or 5 families that weren't famous, that were in the business, that my dad maybe knew from Cleveland, that also moved out. But everyone had kids, and we had a blast. We had a great house growing up, and it was just lots of little lands, different, like shuffleboard over there and volleyball. We were really lucky. That my dad had a great job, and that's really what it was. He had a great job, and we had a blast. But I don't think I realized what that was, because being a kid, like, I think kids now know what's going on because of social media, and
Right.
what people look like. If you don't, like, if you heard them on the radio, if you heard someone's voice, they know who they are and what they look like, because of social media. So we were out playing with sticks and rocks, and we didn't care.
That's great. Now, I'm guessing because you were saying, hey, it's just it was just his job. So you or your brothers, did you guys feel any pressure to get into the entertainment business as well?
No, I don't think he would do either. He wouldn't encourage it or discourage it. If we wanted to, he would for sure, be right there. But he kind of let us decide on our own. I never really wanted to. I think everybody maybe wants to be an actress or a performer because that's all you know. I mean, that's all,
Right.
If your dad's a plumber, that's what you learn, and that's what you know, or whatever he does.
Right.
Numbers, or a teacher, that's kind of, how it runs in families sometimes. So that's kind of what you are around, and that's what your knowledge is, and it's familiar and it's comfortable. So none of us really, I mean, my brother Tim is in radio. He's a writer, and he also has a radio show in LA. But it's syndicated actually on iHeartRadio. He's really funny. He's as funny as my dad.
Oh, yeah?
He talks for 4 hours every night about nothing. about just current events and what's going on in the world and what happened on the weekend and what's going to happen next week. But he's really the only one, and I'm in it too, but behind the scenes.
Right, you do costuming, is this correct?
I do. I'm a costume designer and stylist. They call it a wardrobe stylist in commercials, mostly commercials. It's a fun job. It's another carnival. Like, it's another fun place to be with creative people and shooting somewhere different every day, and it keeps me entertained I work so I can ski. Just waiting for the ski hills to open.
Oh, so you ski?
A lot.
Oh, I've never been. I'm afraid I'm going to break myself.
Well, I would move to Florida, except I talked to a friend of mine the other day. I said, I kind of want to move to Florida, but there's not really a ski hill anywhere close. So
no,
I'm gonna
you
have
can
to
water
wait.
ski?
Pardon?
You can water ski?
I could water ski.
Have you ever been water skiing?
Yeah, we used to compete too.
What?
Up at our my mom's family has a cottage up on Lake Erie on the Canadian side, and we skied pretty much every day, during the summers.
Like competition
with other little yacht clubs and little smaller towns and villages in near our village. It was not an Olympic level.
Right.
No one was breaking any speed records or jump feet, but we had fun.
Yeah, it seems like everything you've done is a competition.
I guess now that I'm saying it, I'm gonna have to look at this and analyze it when I'm done. How many shows can I do in 1 hour?
So what else? Like that's great. So this book something that you had been working on, for those, later years, or is this something that is this a quarantine project, so to speak?
It wasn't meant to be a quarantine project, but it turned into it. When my dad passed away, that summer was rough. That was 2019. The summer was kind of rough, and it was, of course I miss him every day, and I'm lucky to have him for so long. So it was sad no matter what. If it's a parent or a grandparent, whatever, it's sad. But in the fall of 19, I was approached and asked if I wanted to write a book, and I thought, I don't know if anybody cares. I barely care. I care, but I don't know if anybody else would really care to hear all this, but I was talked into otherwise, and we wrote a treatment, and then they introduced me to Caroline St. Clair, who wrote it with me, and we had never met before, but she is an amazing writer, and I'm not a writer at all. I can tell a story, but I'm a little more of a hack speaking wise, and she's a beautiful writer. So somewhere in the middle of, writing deep stuff and thoughts in my language is the book, and that all kind of happened at the end of 19, and then we started writing around the end of February 2020.
Oh boy.
And then I think it was March, right? Kind of lockdown and everything shut down.
Yeah, that first weekend, that was like that first week of March.
Yeah. So we started, I think our first meeting was the end of February. And then we're talking going, I think, like I was going to go, she lives in Florida, actually, near Orlando. And I was going to go out there and do a little bit in person, or she was going to come out here. And we're like, we can't, like nobody's going anywhere. So we did it all over the phone and FaceTime calls and sometimes just most of it was just phone meetings. And we wrote about 3 days a week and back and forth. And it was a nice little project because we literally had nothing to do, nothing else. I wasn't working.
Oh, this is true.
So it gave me the time and the thought and the space to do it, because if I had done it and it would have been a normal year, I'm not sure if I would have gotten the same book out of it. I didn't leave anything out, I don't think. So
I was gonna say, was it hard narrowing down those stories to make it more of a book and less like Moby Dick size, like where you did have to leave things out because it would have been too big, too much?
Yeah, well, it would have been like, who cares? But there are some pretty exciting stories and some heartfelt stories of him, teaching us lessons when we didn't really know he was teaching us. And that's actually something that I figured out during that year of writing, that I would get off the phone and go, God, he taught us about the world in the living room because I forgot to bring something, like a situation where I'm like, he was actually teaching us every day. Never realized it until it all kind of came out.
Do you have a favorite show or character that he did?
I love the Carol Burnett Show characters, the Mr. Tedball,
Mr. Tedball was great.
and Mrs. Wiggins, and the family, the Southern family, Mama's family with Vicki Lawrence and Carol and Harvey. That's probably my favorite, the Southern family.
What did you think? Because I didn't get it because I was younger and never really understood. But what did you think of Dorf?
I loved it. I was just going to say Dorf is next in that line. That came from a character that he did on the Carol Burnett Show. They did a takeoff, like they did spin-offs on movies, pretty much every week on, Gone with the Wind, or I think it was called Went with the Wind. They did some takeoff on Fantasy Island, and Harvey was Ricardo Montalban, and my dad was Hervé Villachet on the porch with them. And, he had to be small. He is smaller than Harvey, but he had to be really small. So
right.
I think they had him on his knees at first, but he didn't like that because it didn't feel like he could do anything. So he had the guys, the art department construction guys, cut 2 holes in this porch that they were on, waiting for Fantasy Island, the planes. And they put him in the holes, and it came up to his knee, and they ended up attaching the shoes to his knee, and that's how it kind of started. And then after that ended, he turned it into, I think it's a cross between Mr. Tidball is the voice and the toupee,
right.
and then this short little salty guy. But I used to make those costumes with him.
Oh yeah,
because he would say, Kel, we're doing a Dorf video, another one, and the shoes don't feel right. We would make them out in his workshop with Velcro and foam, and to make them look like character shoes. But
right.
I learned, I don't know, we just kind of resourceful, I guess, and then just made costumes and shoes and accessories and things for it. So it was pretty fun, and I worked on those too. I had already been working a few years when he started those.
Oh, that's great.
So
that's awesome.
It wasn't a gift job. I was already in the Costume Designers Guild by then. So.
Right. So you were already working. So it wasn't, you weren't just given the job. You were actively working at that point. So that's great.
Yeah. Actually, he wouldn't give me a job until I knew what I was doing. He, I'd say, Dad, can I come and work with you or work on it? He'd go, no, you just started. Like, you can come and learn, come and hang out. But no, I wouldn't. He wasn't like that. It wasn't a favor thing at all.
Yeah, no nepotism there.
Yeah, I did work with him on a couple commercials, and they happened to be directors that I had already was working with. So that was cool. And I knew that wasn't a gift because I was on their jobs anyway. And it happened to be my dad and Harvey in the commercial. So that was pretty great.
Do you remember any, not necessarily television jokes or, anything like that, but any jokes that he would tell at home, or any anecdotes that he would tell that you still tell to this day, but maybe don't necessarily give him credit, like that, that you like to be able to get that laugh?
Am I stealing his material? Is that what you're asking?
Not necessarily stealing the material, but, recycling.
He wasn't a joke teller. He wasn't a setup joke teller. He was a storyteller for sure, but not jokes with a punchline. But he would exaggerate a story to the end of the earth, which my brother does too on his radio show. It's exactly like my dad. But yeah, he had little things he said that all of us always say because it was just a habit. Like he'd say, I go, Dad, I saw a movie today. Oh, what's it about? Oh, it's about 2.5 hours. Every time. Dad, that's not what I meant.
That's great.
So yeah, we say that a lot. And it irritates people, but we keep saying it.
Oh, I mean, I think that's the type of thing that's exactly what I was asking about, is those type things that you still, again, not stealing the material, but sharing and reliving, and keeping, his memory alive through those little jokes.
Yes. In fact, my brother, I go to my brother Tim's house pretty much every Sunday for Sunday dinner, and we go do a Target run or go to the store or something. And my sister-in-law, Tim's wife, Jennifer, and their daughter, my awesome niece, Sophia, who's 16, we cruise around and we go to Walmart or Target and we have a blast. But when I was leaving there this couple days ago, Sunday, he's standing at the door and I looked at him and I'm like, oh my God, that's my dad. He goes, I'll walk you out. I go, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm right across the street. He goes, no, I'll walk you out. So he's standing at the door and he's waving I cried all the way home. Like happy cry, not sad. But,
right.
Tim's like, call when you get there. Like, I'll be right here. Waiting for your call. That's exactly what my dad said. I don't know if he knew he was doing it though. It was so sweet. Such a sweet guy.
That's great. A thing we're gonna go into right now is a thing that I do on every single one of my episodes. It's called the Milo Beasley Show Frequently Asked Questions. I'm going to ask you the same 5 questions that I ask to every single one of my guests.
Okay.
So are you ready? There's no right or wrong answers. It's the first thing that pops into your head. Again, these are same questions that everybody gets.
Okay.
All right. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Question number 1. Who is your first celebrity crush?
Ooh, I think probably more so than celebrity, athlete, Terry Bradshaw.
Okay.
Football players, hockey players, Marcel Dion, all the LA Kings hockey players. I had posters, quarterbacks and hockey players on my walls. Like I said, I don't think I was a girl, but I knew I should have been a girl. So about 12.
Right.
So it was more athletes than celebrities. And maybe, I don't know, David Cassidy at the time. So I was probably 12.
Okay. I can definitely say that Terry Bradshaw this is the first time anybody said Terry Bradshaw. So
I worked with him once and I told him about that. And he's like, God, he goes, how old are you? And he goes, I feel old. He goes, I don't want to talk about it. He's so fun. We had a blast.
That's funny. That's great. All right. Question number 2.
Yeah.
What is your guilty pleasure song? So what's a song that you love to play? You don't care who's around, that you will sing it. You'll blast it. You'll roll down the windows in your car if it's on.
Jack White, White Stripes, Ball and Biscuit.
Oh, okay. I like it.
Ever in the universe.
I like it. That's a good choice. Again, that's the first time anybody said, a lot of people, Britney Spears or, the Safety Dance. White Stripes. Fantastic.
White Stripes. Ball and Biscuit.
Question number 3. This is if you had to, this is purely hypothetical. We don't want PETA getting mad, but okay. Would you rather, if you had to, fight 1 horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses?
A horse-sized duck.
Just get the one out of the way.
Yeah. I'm reading on it too. 1 giant duck or I think 1 giant one. Giant one. I don't know. We're racetrack people, so maybe 100 tiny horses and hope for the best.
I don't know. I always go back and forth because I'm like, I would just want to, because 100 of anything attacking you would be tough. But
although
at the same time, it would be a giant.
That doesn't faze me because of the way we grew up. I have 5 brothers, so that's like, bring it on. We can do it.
Right. Yeah, that's only 20 times the amount of brothers you got. That's easy.
Yeah, divide it up and we're good.
Yep. All right. Question number 4. What is your favorite movie quote?
Field of Dreams for sure. I think it's You Guys Are Guest in My Corn, or yeah, it's probably You Guys Are Guest in My Corn. Now give it up.
That's
I love
great.
Field of Dreams. Is my favorite.
I Field of Dreams is one of my favorite movies. I was playing baseball during that time when the movie was that what around 90 92 somewhere around there.
It might have been, was it 80s even? It's back there. I don't know how old it is.
Yeah,
to me, it seems timeless. I watched it the other day because I had some work to do and I just had it on in the background as noise. But I know pretty much every line from it.
Did you watch the Field of Dreams game this year?
I did. It was really cool.
And his monologue before the game, Kevin Costner's monologue was
gosh. It made me cry.
Listen, I'm not going to say it, but I definitely had a tear or two getting ready to come out because it was so good and it just made you feel so good and yeah, a huge fan of and I'm glad they're going to keep doing it.
I can't wait for them to do it every year. I met Kevin Costner once and I cried when I met him because he was getting off a private plane and I was there and the pilot who I knew introduced us, and when he got off the plane he said that line because my friend told him what the line was, so he got off the plane and he goes, Kelly, and he said the line and I started crying.
That's great. Oh, man.
Yeah, that was fun. I said, I'm not a freak. He goes, I know who your dad is. I know your dad. I know you're not a freak. You just like the movie. Now calm down.
Have you ever been to Iowa to the movie set?
No, I haven't. I've been through Iowa because I've driven back east up to Ontario, Canada a few times. Right. But I've never stopped at the field. That'll be my next. I'll do that.
Bucket list next year. You got to watch a game there.
I'm going to go. Maybe I'll go to the game. That's a good idea.
Yeah. Go to the game because the game is like right next to the movie set.
So cool. I want to be one of those cars with their headlights on at the end in line.
Yes. Oh, gosh, now I'm gonna end it when we get done with this. I'm going to go watch Field of Dreams immediately.
I'll watch it again tonight. Like I said, I just have it on, and I'm sick of watching the news lately. And it's just a nice background.
Yep.
Watch the parts I love.
All right, and then question number 5. This is a fill in the blank. If blank was an Olympic sport, I would win a gold medal.
I would say making something out of something. You're given 5 things and somebody says, okay, make a lamp or make a charm bracelet or build a house out of those 5 things. I'm pretty sure I could do it.
So if MacGyvering was an Olympic sport.
If MacGyver was my coach and that was the sport, I would definitely win at least a silver.
All right. So before we wrap up, let's talk about the book. You know, why should people pick up this book when they're at the airport, when they're at the bookstore?
You're breaking up, but I think you said why.
Yeah. Why should they pick up this? Why should they pick up the book?
It's my dad was he's such a nice guy and he was nice to everyone, and I think it really comes through in this as far as his legacy and what he left all of us with, and people that didn't have a room down the hall from him, people on the street that would run into him and say, oh my God, Tim, I named my baby after you because I was 9.5 months pregnant and the Carol Burnett Show was on and you made me laugh. I fell off the bed, my water broke. So when we got to the hospital, I named my kid after you. So all of those little stories too make this whole nice life that he gave to us. Like I said, not as a here you can be in my business and everything's set up for you. It gave us an opportunity to see the world how he did, which is it's a pretty great place. Even though with all the stuff going on in the last year and a half, it's still a pretty awesome place here, and people are nice if you're nice to them. And he was just a great dad, and my mom, and how they raised us. And I don't know, there's some sweet stories. There's some the last few chapters are when he wasn't doing so well at the end, and my fight to keep him safe and sound, and wanted to get him home instead of in a public place in these facilities, but it didn't happen. But I fought my tail off for it, and I'm pretty proud of that. I'm proud of this book, but I'm most proud of fighting to the end for him, and he knew it.
That's good. That's good that he knew it. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me about your life, about your father's life, about those stories. I can't wait to pick up this book. I guarantee I'm not just saying that because I had you on the show. I am definitely going to be going out and picking up this book.
You seem too young to know who he is.
I'm deceptively I look young. Let's just say that.
Different age ranges know him from different things. Like our parents know him from something else, and then my age, your age, and down to the little kids with the SpongeBob. So I guess everybody knows. And there's a lot of
I knew him from Carol Burnett.
Pardon?
I knew him from the Carol Burnett show.
Oh, good.
So that was especially because like Carol Burnett and Mama's Family was on when, like I would be home from school or something like that. It would, you'd watch The Price is Right, Carol Burnett, Mama's Family, and then, it was, and then all your friends were home, after
exactly.
school.
So you were watching reruns. We had to wait up till 10 o'clock on Saturday. That was hard. It was a great experience to write it. Like I said, with Caroline, who was a fantastic writer, and we had a great time doing it. A couple of parts were hard. And there's the pictures I put in. We have so many pictures, and I love the pictures in it. The first thing I do when I get a book is I kind of go to the middle and for the pictures, and I think there's over 100 pictures, so it's a lot.
That's great.
Yeah.
Oh, was it again? Was it hard putting some of that stuff in there, or did it bring back some memories, or was it like, did it bring back memories and it was in a good way?
It was a good way. It was the end wasn't great with me not being able to see him and having to go to court. So that was pretty devastating. But I swear this last year and a half in writing this, there's not a therapist in the country that could have done what all of that did to just, and it's nothing, that anybody else hasn't gone through. That's what happens. Parents go away. It would be another situation to lose someone younger than you, a child. So it's not that, it's the chain of life. But it was pretty therapeutic to do it, and I'm happy I did it, and it's a sweet little story.
Absolutely. I can't wait to pick it up myself. So again, thank you so much for spending your time chatting with me about it, and best of luck with the book sales and all your future endeavors. Maybe there's enough stories there can be a part 2.
Maybe there's more. There's a lot more. I did have to edit out a lot, but yeah, there's lots more.
All right. Well, thank you very much. And thank you all for watching. And we will see you next week, where we talk with Robert Schaefer. You know him as Bob Vance Refrigeration from The Office. Thank you very much. And we'll talk to you next week.
Bye. Thank you.
Oh, why is my outro playing?